Hello EFD squad, I'm back on a 10 for the first time in a while with my latest piece of poo-coloured apparel. What do you think? Let me know on Twitter. Moving into the script. 10. Neymar to PSG. In the summer of 2017, Neymar Jr. moved from Barcelona to PSG to break the world record fee and change the world of football forever. 105 was the number of goals he netted wearing the Blaugrana jersey, 59 was the amount of assists he racked up in all competitions, and 222 million euros was the figure that brought the number 10 to the Parc des Princes. The move, that more than doubled the previous record fee, sparked a tidal wave in the transfer window, and fees have been mad ever since. It's led to the Coutinho to Barca move for 120 million, and players like Harry Kane being valued at 195, and Mbappe forecasted to fetch a whopping 192. And Barcelona have now slapped a huge 700 million euro release clause into the one and only Lionel Messi's contract. Not only has it caused the worth of players to skyrocket, it's also ruffled Barca's feathers. Neymar's become the first power player to opt to leave the Camp Nou in modern times, denting Barcelona's reign as the most powerful, influential club in the world. But as of January 2018, they've gone out their way to show they're still numero one in the transfer market, bringing in Coutinho, having already wrapped up the league. Let's hope they actually do, or I'm going to look extremely stupid. 9. The Bosman Rule. Unless you're a fan of Standard Liège back in the 80s, you probably haven't heard of Jean-Marc Bosman, but he's the namesake of the ruling that led to the free movement of footballers. The landmark trial between Bosman and the Belgian FA changed the format of football contracts, taking power away from the clubs and handing it to the players. It meant that players were now entitled to become a free agent once their contract had expired, meaning they could leave on a free and demand a huge signing-on fee and a bigger salary instead. It gave players who were coming to the end of their contract a bargaining tool to get a better deal, as clubs would be worried to let players go on a free if they weren't satisfied. At the time, the Bosman Rule facilitated big moves for Edgar Davids and Patrick Kluivert to AC Milan, both from Ajax, Brian Laudrup to go from Rangers to Chelsea, and Steve McManaman to switch from Manchester City to Real Madrid. 8. David Beckham to LA Galaxy. In 2007, David Beckham was unveiled as LA Galaxy's latest high-profile signing to sensational fanfare. He struck a 5-year deal with the MLS side, thought to be worth over $30 million. While his move stateside attracted a lot of criticism, saying he'd moved basically for the fame and not the football, like it or not, Beck's move to the MLS was a raging success. He massively raised the profile of the American League as he encouraged other big names from Frank Lampard to Sebastian Giovinco to cross the Atlantic. Beckham's decision to go to LA also gave the league some much needed currency as he projected a host of top clubs in the process. Becks himself said that he'd made the move to make a difference. "I'm not saying coming over to the States is going to make soccer the biggest sport in America," he said, "but I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think I could make a difference." Poetic. He may not have made soccer one of the most popular sports in America, but he's definitely helped lay the groundwork for the fastest growing sport in the country. 7. Oscar to Shanghai. Unlike Beckham's positive and lasting contribution to the acceleration of the game out in the States, Oscar and Tevez's departure to China hasn't really bore the same fruit. Similar to Beck's, Oscar had offers on the table from some of Europe's finest, including Atletico Madrid, AC Milan and Juventus, when he opted to move from Chelsea to Shanghai SIPG for £52 million and £400,000 a week, an amount he admitted he couldn't refuse. The Brazilian, who earned 2 Premier League titles over his 5-year stint in West London, made the move to the CSL at just 25 years old, the peak of his career, and it was a move that signified the ambition of Chinese football during that period. But the experiment appears to be over as Chinese teams have received a directive to spend less on expensive foreigners and develop domestic talent with the hope of winning, or at least putting their names in the hat to win a World Cup in the next 30 years. Not going to happen. Sadly for his employers, Oscar has said that he'd like to go back to Europe to play a high level of football once his contract at Shanghai has been completed. I wonder if the same calibre of teams will be queuing up to sign him in his late 20s. 6. Willie Groves to Aston Villa. At number 10, we had Neymar for his major role in pushing up transfer fees, but really, it was this guy, Willie Groves, who paved the way for big money signings. In 1893, the Scottish striker moved from West Brom to Aston Villa for the barrier-breaking sum of 100 spondula. The fee, however, was actually a fine paid by Villa for illegally tapping up the Scotsman, but acted as the first transfer fee to ever be paid in football. 10 years later, Middlesbrough went 10 times bigger to break the fee yet again, coughing up £1,000 to sign Sunderland's Alf Common, living well beyond their means. So, while the numbers may not have changed wildly since the 19th century, the fundamentals of football finances haven't really changed. David Luiz to PSG. David Luiz's move to Paris from Chelsea and then back to Chelsea 2 years later may not have been the Blues' best business move. But the 50 million transfer was the first time that a defender had earned such a handsome fee. More used to clubs paying the big bucks for forwards who would bag 20 plus goals a season, David Luiz's move was the first headline-grabbing transfer for someone who'd prevent goals instead. While he's made the news over the course of a few transfer windows, it was his move to Ligue 1 that became the catalyst in lifting up the price tags of the world's best defenders. Since his move to Paris in 2014, the football world has become a lot more accustomed to spending over 30 million on the back line. We've seen Manchester City spend almost 50 million on John Stones, while Thiago Silva went to the French capital for well over 30. And more recently, Virgil van Dijk has reset the record yet again with a £75 million transfer to the red half of Liverpool. 4. Didier Drogba to Chelsea. Roman Abramovich may be responsible for changing not only the Premier League, but football as a whole, as he was the first billionaire to take a bang-average club, and simply buy success. Before his investment into the Blues, the West London side had won just 8 trophies in their 98-year history. And the move from Marseille to Stamford Bridge in 2004 makes Didier Drogba the poster boy of Chelsea's new money and era of success. Following a season in which Drogba scored 19 goals for the league inside and was titled UNFP Player of the Season, the striker was picked up by the Blues for the princely sum of 24 million. During his time in London, the forward scored 104 Premier League goals, averaging 0.4 goals a game. Now, there has been more prolific strikers, but he also had a knack of scoring in big games, solidifying his status as a Chelsea legend. Drogba led Abramovich's Blues to 4 top-flight titles, 4 FA Cups, 3 Community Shields, and a Champions League trophy. The Ivorian may not have been Roman's first signing, but his transfer and subsequent success showed the rest of the footballing world the best way to secure silverware. That's money. 3. Mo Johnson to Rangers. In 1989, Mo Johnson became the first high-profile Catholic to play for Rangers since World War I, after Graham Souness broke the club's unwritten rule of only signing Protestants. And as if this move wasn't spicy enough, Johnson had actually promised to re-sign for Celtic, Rangers' bitter rivals, just hours before. However, Rangers had deeper coffers than the boys, and this financial clout, plus the persuasiveness of player-manager Souness, proved a deadly combination, and the player's head was successfully turned. Some Rangers fans were so incensed by the move, such was the rife sectarianism at the time, they burned scarves and threatened to return their season tickets, while Celtic fans labelled the player a Judas. Even the Rangers kitman refused to wash Johnson's tighty whities upon the player's arrival. However, Super Mo soon won their simple minds over, and his 30-plus goals in 2 seasons helped Rangers secure 2 league titles. He even scored a last-minute winner in his first Old Firm derby. Ultimately, the only thing Johnson said he regretted was upsetting close pal and Celtic legend Tommy Burns. Now, such was the emotional expenditure, he supports neither team. Mo money, mo problems indeed. 2. Zidane to Real Madrid. In 2001, Real Madrid forked out a huge 45.6 million to take Zinedine Zidane from Turin to Real. Zizou became Florentino Perez's second signing of the Galactico era. Perez, who is now worth 2.2 billion, completely changed Los Blancos' business model by spunking that cash. During his first stint as the club's president, Perez brought a number of superstars through the doors at the Bernabeu, including Zidane, Beckham and Figo, increasing their commercial viability and making them the #1 of any sports team in worldwide sales. It was Zidane's move that encapsulated Perez and Real Madrid's power. The record stood for 8 years and is still the 13th most expensive transfer in football history. And Zach's big Algerian added even more value to the move when he became manager in 2016, leading Real to become the first ever team to win back-to-back Champions League trophies. 1. Buffon to Juventus. The men who can single-handedly win or lose a game, you'd have thought that goalkeepers would demand one of the highest transfer fees. Yet, even though there's a high demand and low supply, stoppers have historically been bargains in the transfer window. In the summer of 2017, Manchester City paid around £35 million for Benfica's 23-year-old Edison. A lot of eyebrows were raised at the time, but as of January 2018, he's proved a bargain and the last piece in Pep's Manchester City puzzle. While this still seems cheap in a market where Van Dijk costs over double that, Pep Guardiola's purchase was one of only a handful of times that any club has paid double figures for a goalkeeper. The first ever big money keeper was none other than Gigi Buffon, who cost Juventus €52 million way back in 2001, breaking the previous sale by over €30 million. And with over 600 games in the black and white and only 480 something goals conceded, it looks like Juve definitely got their money's worth. So guys, there are 10 transfers that changed the beautiful world of football. Have we missed any out? Let us know in the comments below. And we may do a part 2. Lucky you. If you enjoyed this, go and watch more EFD content. It's all great. And goodbye.